What's up, everybody, and welcome back to day number of the daily vlog. We're almost home, getting closer and closer every day and getting more anxious about it. Today's video, let's talk about the captain save a sailor, right? And they're not always the captain, but sometimes it's chief save a sailor. And it just, it really gets on my nerves when you run into the khaki level leadership that is always doing things out of selfish reasons to help a sailor, but it is not about helping the sailor at all, right? It's only about themselves looking good. It's about themselves being able, and they dangle it over the sailor, right? They'll be like, hey, you remember when I did that for you? Hey, why don't you say you're welcome, right? And shit like that. And I noticed it around here sometimes. It's cringeworthy, right? And my sailors see it, and they'll like look at me and ask me like, yo, Chief, it's like, is that how y'all be? And I'm like, nah, man, like, miss me with that, okay? My sailors are very, some are very open, some are open, right? But they come to me, they talk to me, and they like, sailors are so in touch with, like, and I've talked about this before, and I think they're more in touch with it now. Back in the day, I think we used to be, but sailors are just more aware, and it's gotten worse over the time of leadership, like, becoming so apparent that they're doing it for themselves. Okay, that none of it is out of like just genuine selflessness of trying to help sailors out. It's all about, if I do this, it'll make me look good, and that's the worst thing. And as me and my homegirl here, we're talking about a lot of these things, right? I bounce ideas off of her as we sit there throughout the day, and then I bring it back and I share it with you. Right? Is like, it's, as she says, it's disgusting, like, to watch other khaki leadership in the wardroom and in the mess, right? Like, do things that are for their benefit only is one of the most disgusting things. You just sit there and you call it out in private, right? You can't just call that out publicly in front of everyone. When those sailors come to you, you talk to those sailors. You make sure you reassure those sailors that whatever you can do, you'll help with them. But it's one of those, like, you wait. I wait for the sailor to ask for the help. Right? I make sure they understand that I'm there for them, that if they do need help, I will help them. But until they ask, I'm not moving on anything, right? And you might sit there, and this goes back to some of the conversations we had last year about the intrusive leadership and things like that, and I'm not a fan of those words or anything, right? I don't need to, when I covered that before, it was like, I don't need to intrude on them, because they're willing to come to me when they need that help, right? So I don't need to be intrusive, okay? I'm there. I'm just waiting for them to come to me when they need help. But what I really want for them to do is figure out like 90% or the whole 100% solution on their own. That's when you're really growing sailors, and when you're really the mentoring and the leadership that you're giving them, right? The free reign, right, to go and operate autonomously, right? That's a good word, right? That is working, right? That they're actually growing, because they're able to work through the problem themselves. They're able to work through all the steps and think about it and come up with a solution themselves. And they're not just running to you to be like, oh, I have this problem, fix it for me. So many sailors are like that nowadays. So many khaki leadership are ready to do that. Partly because when they were junior, they felt like they didn't have enough of that. So now they're giving it. It's kind of like the parent syndrome, right? I could attest to this because I'm a parent, right? I didn't have as much as I thought I needed or want. I definitely not as much as I wanted growing up, right? I didn't have all the new toys. I couldn't go do all the cool things, right? Grew up poor. It happens, right? A lot of people do. But then when you have kids and you have a better job, a steady paycheck, a paycheck that's a lot larger than anything your parents were making when you were growing up, like, you want to give your kids more. So what happens a lot, and you can take that parenting thing over to the Navy thing, leadership, junior sailor kind of thing, right? Is like, you start doing so much for them that they become spoiled, right? Your kids or your sailors become spoiled, and they don't know how to do anything for themselves. And then they grow up and they don't know how to fucking operate. And you can see that in the leadership of the Navy. There's many, again, wardroom and mess, that don't know how to operate and don't know how to find solutions to things, right? They don't know how to run a problem around. You know how many times I've heard people just stand there to their leaders, to their bosses, right? And go like, I don't know what to do. Like, help me. Like if you need help, then ask for help. But like sitting there and like with the steam coming out of your ears and your hair frazzled and you're like, I don't know what to do. Like, email somebody to figure it the fuck out. The job is really that easy, where you could fire off emails with God and country fucking on the CC line, and people are going to start rogering up to help you. Okay, but you have to ask for that, and that's how I treat my sailors. If you're not asking for it, right, then you're going to be stuck there. And I'm going to check in on you, and I'm going to poke you, but I'm going to poke you so you find your own solutions until you be like, hey, Chief, I need help. All right, and then it's all right, how may I help you? Like, what's the problem? How do we figure it out together, right? But together, I'm not doing that work for you. I'm not grabbing your MRC. I'm not making that schedule for you. I'm going to give you options. I'm going to open your eyes to some things that you might not have thought of, and then you need to go act on that on your own, right? But again, today's Navy, a lot of leadership on the khaki side is like, oh no, you have a problem? Let me, it's, you've heard this, right? Like, it's my job to remove all obstacles. Well, sometimes when you remove all obstacles, right, depending on what those obstacles are and in what lane those obstacles are in, you're removing challenges, right? And without challenge, no one's going to get better, right? Obstacles like pay issues, yes, you should remove those, right? There's no fucking reason. I've covered this a lot, right? That we should have pay issues that extend for more than a month, than more than one complete whole pay period cycle, right? Yet we do. So if you're always pumping that gas talking about, I'm here to remove obstacles, but we continue to have pay issues, what obstacles are you fucking removing? You're not doing what you say you're supposed to be doing. So why are you going out of, like stay in that swim lane and complete that mission before you start promising sailors anything else, right? Before you start trying to solve other obstacles and remove obstacles that aren't even obstacles, right? It's just made up shit, again, because you're working out of selfishness. All right, so that's it really tonight. I just want to touch on that a little bit. You know, think about it. Next time you think you're removing obstacles for your sailors or for yourself, like, is it really an obstacle or is there a challenge, right, that maybe those sailors need to meet head on so they can have some growth, right? Hey, back as we just covered it the other night, right? CNO put it out, warfighters, right? Are we building warfighters or are we building fucking sailors that ain't got no backbone and that aren't ready to lead into the next fucking war? It's up to you. You develop on how you want, but there is a right way and there's a way to get them ready for what's to come. And I hope everyone gets on board with whatever that is for you and how you're going to do that. But I hope it's in line with those priorities. I'm not even I try not to even be a big hoo-yah-y like that. But like those priorities that CNO put out, they're really good. They're on point, and I like it because that's the direction we should be moving. We should be getting away from the peacetime. We ain't fucking about it, and we need to get into the about it, getting ready, right? We need more ships. We need more sailors, and we need war fighters. And if we take away every little obstacle, there's no growth. You see sailors. They can't go fucking, 3 days without a fucking cell phone or headphones. And I enjoy those things too, but I came up in a Navy where that shit was not really that relevant. Like, we had the old iPod dock and you just played music for the whole shop, right? When shit pops off and you gotta turn everything off, so motherfuckers are gonna lose their minds about it. Lose their minds. So, hey, build those sailors up. Leave some obstacles in front of them. Let them meet those obstacles head on. Let them meet the challenge. Let them grow, right? Stop doing shit just because you want to look good and you're being selfish. That's all we got tonight. We'll be back tomorrow.